Welcome back to the List Building Lifestyle. I'm your host, Igor Kafetz. Few people who never had an email list understand the true importance, the true leverage of having one. In this episode, I'm giving a talk to a bunch of people who never had an email list, never thought about building one, and never truly realized the value of having a group of people they can message with a push of a button. And I break it down exactly why everyone, even if they're an offline business that seemingly doesn't necessarily have anything mass market to launch, still needs to build an email list. I don't care if you're a cobbler or a baker or a lawyer or an internet marketer or a coach or a consultant, it doesn't matter. You should be building an email list, and you should be building an email list yesterday. This episode clearly explains why this is so important. I'm Igor Kafetz, and this is the List Building Lifestyle, the podcast for anyone who wants to build a wildly profitable email list working from home. If you'd like to make six figures, travel the world, and help people improve their lives in the process, this podcast is for you. I also invite you to claim a free copy of my best-selling book, The List Building Lifestyle: Confessions of an Email Millionaire, at igorsbook.com. Get the free book plus $3,000 bonus package that includes my best capture page templates, email swipe files, and traffic blueprints. Visit www.igorsbook.com for details. And now, it's time to claim your list building lifestyle.
So Igor, you are the highest paid email marketer out there. How did you get there?
Oh wow, that's look, if I had to simplify this and give you like the nutshell, for me it's been about consistency more than anything else, and continuously inching forward, become a little bit better, a little bit fine-tuning that thing every single day, kind of getting a little better. And I still to this day follow this process and mentality. I was on a quest, really. I grew up in an immigrant family. So I was born and raised in Ukraine. Then at some point, things got real bad. I mean, they're pretty bad now in Ukraine. At the time, they were just as bad. Just no war, but pretty bad still. And my parents decided, because we have a Jewish, heritage, Jewish roots. Both of my parents are Jewish. I'm Jewish. My brother's Jewish. They said, okay, let's go to Israel, because it's not like we had anything going on, but that was better than staying in Ukraine. So you can imagine, like, my dad 42, my mom at the time 39, drop everything and just move to Israel. We had about $1,000 in savings. I remember we brought these 12 big bags of stuff, like everything we had, even to a point where my mom brought toilet paper, like whatever we had left, she just took it. And the next 10 years proved to be extremely difficult. Israel in and of itself is a great country. It helps its immigrants. There's different programs. There's different subsidies. They help you find a job. They help you learn the language. But when you're a 42-year-old frustrated Ukrainian guy, like my dad was, who used to be somebody in Ukraine. He actually used to own a business in Ukraine, and he used to serve in the Red Army back in the Soviet Union. So he had connections, he had status. And when he came to Israel, all that shattered like a glass that broke, and he couldn't really piece it together. So he started drinking more heavily. My mom, she was a housewife back in Ukraine. She had to go and get some a job really that didn't require too much of a language skill or whatever. So obviously that meant factory or cleaning or stuff like that. And 6 months after we came, my dad suffered it wasn't really a heart attack, but there was something wrong with his heart. And then doctor ran some tests and said, hey, you got to go into a bypass immediately. And so he went into a double bypass, and basically it took him out of the workforce. Like from that point forward, he could never find a job. And jobs he did find usually meant, a security guard sitting on a chair somewhere. But these were occasional jobs, and every now and again, every 6 to 8 months, he would get fired, and then 6 months later get rehired again. And so growing up, always short on money, always being told, no, we don't have money for this, we don't have money for that. Living off of handouts from our relatives and friends. pretty much borrowed money from anyone we knew, and never my dad never paid anyone back, which I now realize what a dick move that was, but that was just the reality. And so when I was growing up, there was this message, especially in a Jewish family, right? So there was this message hammered into me, and it's like, you have to grow up, you have to study well, get good grades, you have to find a good job, and you have to save us, you know. So they were like putting all their hopes on me, in spite of me having an older brother, but he had his own issues. Like, he actually ended up, racking up a lot of debt way before 30, and having an accidental pregnancy, and then another one, and so he had like lots of money issues, lots of money problems. And so when I was graduating high school, I I was heavy into gaming, so I loved playing video games, online first person shooters, stuff like that. And I really didn't want to go and get a job. Like, I didn't like the idea. And so I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who was never an A student. I was an A student, but he was like a C student at best. And I was studying for this exam, and I was really stressed out, right? And he's like, his name is Max. He's like, Igor, why are you so stressed out? And I'm like, well, I got this test coming up, aerodynamics. And he's like, so I was like, well, yeah, you don't care because you're like a C student and whatever. He's like, yeah, but why do you care? I said, well, because I want to get good grades and find a good job and, do the whole thing. To which he said, don't you know, rich people aren't the ones who get the best grades? What? I was like, no, like, Max, don't bullshit me, right? You have no idea. It's like, no, you don't understand. It's not me saying this. It's this guy, Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. A students work for the government, C students work for B students, and B students are whatever. He said stuff like that. I hear that, and I'm like, okay, I got to read this book. And so I read Rich Dad Poor Dad again just before graduation, and it flips the script completely. Like, it makes me realize that you can do better than a job, that a job is not a way to be rich or become rich, and that if you want to be rich, you got to start asking different questions. And this book suggests two things: either you go into real estate, which is how Kiyosaki, apparently, like in that book, he talks about real estate mostly, although he got rich through manufacturing and doing some other stuff, selling wallets, I think. He says if you don't have a business idea, capital, or anything, you should go into MLM, which is exactly where I went. And I found this online MLM at $10 a month. It's called the GDI, Global Domains International. And if you refer somebody and they refer somebody and they refer somebody, everyone makes passive income. So I failed miserably with MLM. I recruited my mom, who had no idea because I just used her credit card, and my best friend Max, the guy who said I should read the book, and he canceled the next day, and so I was really upset with him about that for a while. But yeah, I sucked at MLM. But it's through trying to promote my MLM business, I learned lots of digital marketing techniques. It's back 2008, 2009. So there was MySpace, Facebook was just coming out, YouTube was still a relatively small thing before Google bought them. And I was doing everything, was doing the social media bit, uploading videos, doing a lot of stuff. And it is in my pursuit of success in MLM that never came, I kept on bumping into this one thing everywhere. Either they were saying build a list, or they had lists and they were mailing the lists, and I was on the lists buying the stuff they were mailing. And so eventually the penny dropped after a couple of years of chasing shiny objects, and I said, okay, well, it seems like anyone who's achieved anything online, they have an email list, so I better double down on that. Do you know what ClickBank is? Do the listeners know? No. So ClickBank is like an online marketplace where you can find products you can promote, and when you promote them, you get paid a commission for every sale that takes place. So there could be a product that costs $100, maybe a supplement, maybe a piece of software, could be a coaching program. I mean, could be anything really. And then if somebody buys that through my link, then I get the commission. It could be as little as 30%, as high as 90%. So there was a point in time when I just started building my list, and I really consistently mailed that list every single day. I made my first commission check of about $140 something. Now, in Israel, And it took that check about 3 weeks to arrive from Boise, Idaho, of course. But in Israel, that's about maybe like a week's worth of job income, right? So to see that amount of money appear magically in my inbox, and then, when I saw that, first off, I was amazed and shocked that finally there's some real money coming out of this thing. I was still way down in terms of like what I invested time and money versus what I made at that point. But at least I had proof of concept that it worked. So the first thing I've done is I grabbed that check. I went to my parents' house and I waved in front of my dad like this and was like, "Hey, Dad, real internet money from Magical Internet." From that day, he kind of stopped getting on my case, and he even started supporting me. He would allow me to use his credit card to sign up for an email autoresponders, and he would actually just not get in my way anymore.
Thank you for listening to The List Building Lifestyle. Get access to the previous episodes, transcript of today's show, as well as other exclusive content at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. Also remember to claim your free copy of my best-selling book at www.igorsbook.com. It explains how I made millions with list building starting from scratch. Plus, I'll give you $3,000 worth of free bonuses, including my best landing page templates, email swipe files, and traffic blueprints. Go to www.igorsbook.com now to claim your free package.